Hi guys, welcome to week 1 of the Introduction to IO Psychology weekly discussion videos. And the point of these videos is to answer the questions our professor posted. So if you don't have those questions with you, just check out the description box below. The questions will be there along with the time I started talking about it. So if you don't want to watch the entire video, then just skip to the part that you want to watch. So the first question is, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing the modern workforce, and how do you think IO psychologists can help? I'm going to answer this question relevant to the article because I agree with them. The modern challenge will definitely be artificial intelligence or AIs. So we're already seeing the self-driving cars, the self-serving kiosks in the restaurants. We've already seen like some jobs putting robots and replacing people. And eventually it's going to get to a point that all jobs are going to replace people, and then there's just going to be robots serving us, which is all nice in games until you watch movies that explain why it's a bad idea. And I just like shorten up the entire thing. It's just like us humans, we just aren't designed to not work. And that's something that David L. Blustein said. He really made the claim that it's bad for humans not to work. We have this need to contribute. And if we're not contributing, then we feel depressed. We feel anxiety. Our self-esteem is going to be non-existent. But on top of that, something that I don't think they mention is the fact that our economy revolves around the human workforce. We get compensated with money, which gives us the primary needs, which is companies the necessities that they need to make those needs for us. So there's this ongoing cycle, and if that cycle gets disrupted by artificial intelligence in any way, shape, or form, it's only going to end up hurting us in so many ways, because then we're going to be stripped not only from our need to contribute, but our basic necessities as water, such as water, shelter, which is a house, apartment, whatever, food. Because if somebody strips me of pizza, it's over. But it's just like I feel like if we're gonna be replaced by artificial intelligence, there has to be some compensation. Like, what are we going to do? Or we're gonna take care of them? Then they're really, I don't know. Then at some point they're gonna make robots to take care of robots, and what are we gonna do? Nothing. We're just gonna be in Bora Bora, which is nice for maybe a month, but not for the rest of our lives. We're gonna be giving birth to people, and it's just like, oh, just do nothing. No, we were designed to be workers. But I think the only role that, not even the only one, but the role that IO psychologists now and then us in the future have is just to remind these companies that, at the end of the day, it's good to have AIs, but let's just think about all these what ifs and focus on how can we enhance the human workforce without replacing it. Because you're kind of just like taking out the humanity out of this world if you just like keep replacing it just because you can't compensate a human for the right ways. Like, that's like my biggest issue. It's like, and just say I think the biggest issue in the modern workforce in general is just the dehumanization in every aspect. Because my personal answer to this question was discrimination, and that has to do with like the dehumanization of somebody else. So I think if we just bring back humanity to the world and back to the workplace, and we'll definitely like be living in a much better place. So I guess like I don't know if that answered the question for how IOs can help, but it's just, yeah, like, IO psychologists, they're responsible and they have the credibility to tell these companies this is the right way to go. So I just really hope that IO psychologists now definitely use their power for good and just remind these companies to bring back humanity. So second question is, who do you feel made the biggest contribution to the early history of IO psychology, and why? So this has to do with the other reading, and I just want to make sure I give him credit. I think it's Walter Dill Scott. I feel like out of all the 4 people, he definitely contributed the most, because even though Hugo Musterberg knew like politicians and was in that world, I feel like Scott was definitely the one that pushed the most to go into like the industrial organizational route, like him writing his business books or presenting columns like in the theory of advertising, or the book increasing human efficiency in business. Like he basically set the stone, or like set the basis for industrial or IO psychologists, because like it's such a long name. So everybody else like could tell, like I feel like he did the least. Musterberg, like I said, he contributed something. Like, yeah, sure, you did apply psychology, but I felt like Scott turned it into like industrial organizational psychology. So I'm gonna give him the credit for it. And the third question is, have you ever experienced a problem at work that interfered with your safety, productivity, excuse me, or job satisfaction? In each case, discuss the relevance of IO psychology to the problem. Okay, so I did have a previous job. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. If I could work there for the rest of my life, I really would do it, no matter how annoying some of the patients can be. But I think the only thing I really didn't like about it was just like the management of it. So I guess that has a lot to do with the productivity and job satisfaction part, not really with the safety. The reason I say that is because I just felt like I'm already a hard worker. You give me a task, I try to do it to the best of my ability. For example, this video, if I told you how many times I restarted it, you'd be like, girl, chill, it's just a video, relax. I'm like, I don't know, I'm trying to be a perfectionist. So I don't need to have somebody on top of me to do something. Like, you tell me to do something one time, and it'll be like, the most that you have to do is just remind me to do it, be like a reminder. I'll be like, oh, I did it, or oh, I'll do it now, and then I'll do it. But one thing that my manager, and I'm gonna whisper this just because es un poquito de chisme, with a little bit of gossip. My manager was just like constantly on top of everything that we did, and of course I appreciated it. Like, as a manager, you definitely want to make sure like everything's running, but I was working hours straight. I mean, hours. There would be times I would only eat because I felt like if I did not eat a bite of something, I'd be like this. I'd be fainting all over the place. I don't know, and it just felt like because of that stress that was put into the job, and that pressure, that unnecessary pressure, it just felt like it ruined my productivity, because it felt like it slowed me down instead of speeding me up. And then the days that she wasn't there, I was my most productive and my happiest, because I was not just doing the work that I had to do. I did it perfectly. I mean, as perfect as possible, I guess. And on top of that, I felt good. So, yeah, I don't think about, like, I guess management wise, all right, like having a set hour to eat, that would be nice. I guess that's where the role of IO psychologist. And then on top of that, it's just like knowing when it's too much or too little of anything. Like, in that case, it was just too much management, to the point it led to like less productivity, compared to like if she just gave me like medium management, like, hi, do this, and be like, okay, like I know it's my job to get that done, especially to get it done in a timely manner. I don't need to have somebody breathing down my neck to do something, mother. So I hope that really just answers all three of the questions perfectly.